Hey everybody, welcome back to 5DT with me. And this is a particularly exciting time because I've had a lot of students, clients, all kinds of people coming to me, talking to me about the amount of energy, the shifting of energies, the things that they're feeling, the things that are coming up for them. And I just wanted to kind of dive a little bit into that so that we can better understand what's going on and why we may be feeling the way that we're feeling. So we are in eclipse season, and that just means that we experienced a lunar eclipse on March 25th. And I'll get into that in a minute, but we're also coming up and experiencing a solar eclipse on the 8th of April. And this is a big one because it is going to be a total eclipse. And the last time we had a total eclipse, I believe, was in 2017. So they've been very close together, which is unusual and pretty rare. So the energies are very heightened right now. And then I'll get into kind of where I am and what I'm doing, because obviously you can tell probably from what's behind me and around me that I am not sitting in Denver, Colorado. I am in a very special place in order to celebrate the eclipse. So when we have a lunar eclipse like we had on March 25th, what happens is that the Earth ends up moving in between the moon and the sun. And so when it's directly between the moon and the sun, it casts a shadow onto the moon, and that's what creates the eclipse. And what often happens is we see red hues around the moon as a result of all of this shadow effect, and so we call it the blood moon. And this particular moon was a full moon in Libra. And as a result of that, it's really asking us to talk about milestones. Full moons are all about milestones and about releasing and letting go. So it's talking about milestones, but also releasing and letting go of how we are in relation with other people, but also how people are in relation to us. So it's about how we see ourselves in community. It's about how we see ourselves developing as the self without being dependent of community, and kind of how that puzzle all fits together in our lives. And so there are a lot of things that a lot of us needed to release around maybe toxic relationships, whether that's platonic relationships, family relationships, business partnerships and relationships, whatever it is. You're probably seeing an energy that's calling you to mobilize yourself in a way that helps you heal and rid yourself of relationships or partnerships that are not serving you and your highest good. So the solar eclipse is different from the lunar eclipse in that the moon is actually moving now in between the Earth and the sun. And so the moon actually obscures our vision, depending upon whether it's a total or a partial eclipse. And we're going into a total eclipse, so it's going to skew our view of the sun in totality, depending upon where we are in the world. So I happen to be right now in a particular location where I will be able to see the total solar eclipse, and it's a very, very special moment. This is an eclipse unlike the lunar, where you do need to have special glasses. You should never be looking at the solar eclipse as it's happening, because you can actually damage your eyes and your eyesight. And so when that happens, daylight turns to nighttime or twilight, and a lot of different things will happen as a result of that. So you may see animals come out that you're not used to seeing at that time of day, because they actually think that it is now nighttime. I've also heard that there will be no breeze at the time of the total eclipse. The temperature obviously can drop by several degrees as a result of the fact that the sun is being obscured by the moon, and so we're not getting all of that direct sunlight. And also that The birds will stop chirping. You're not going to hear insects or anything like that making any noise. It becomes very, very quiet. And solar eclipses can only happen on new moons. So in opposition to the full moon, our new moon is all about bringing new energy in. And because this particular new moon is a new moon in Aries, it is very much about bringing in new energies as it relates to our relationships. Also with self-discovery. So very, very similar in terms of the energy that you're going to hear about in relation to the full moon in Libra, but just in a different form. As we have released all of that, we are now bringing in the new, planting new seeds for what is to come. So eclipse season is a very powerful, very transformative time. It is asking us and calling on us, especially as we move into the new moon in Aries, to be bold, to be assertive, to make things happen. Here's where it gets tricky. Mercury went retrograde April 1st. So Mercury as a planet right now appears to be moving backwards. And because Mercury rules over things like communication, travel, documents or contracts, and technology, we're going to see constant disruptions in all of these things. So on my way to where I am now, I had delay after delay, delay after delay after delay after delay when it came to my travel arrangements, which took me by no surprise because I was ready for the energy and I was able to flow with it. All of that being said, when Mercury is retrograde, it is not recommended for you to start new projects. So if you've got something that you've had sitting on the back burner and all of a sudden time has opened up and bandwidth has opened up for you and you're ready to dive in, I suggest that you hold on, because usually what happens during this time period is that you need to double check emails, you need to not be as impulsive when you're communicating, you need to expect travel delays or even cancellations and things of that nature. And it's not recommended to sign any big contracts, whether you're buying a house, buying a car, all of those things. Now, that's not to say that you can't do those things. It's just not necessarily recommended because the energies aren't necessarily aligned to help you get through all of that in a fashion where it's seamless. Usually what will happen is you'll have to go back and redo things, or bumps in the road will happen, and it can be a very stressful time for a lot of people. So that's why I've had a lot of commentary coming my way about how do I handle all of this. It feels so overwhelming. And I think the biggest thing to remember is just that all of this activity is calling on us to heal what needs to be healed. And if it keeps coming back up for you, it keeps coming back up for you to serve a reason and a mission in your life, for you to clear out whatever's not serving you, for you to bring in the new things that are going to serve you and your highest good. So I encourage you during this eclipse season, think about the intentions that you want to put out, but maybe don't necessarily be as bold as or assertive as you would be if Mercury wasn't retrograde. Waiting until the end of the month or even into the beginning part of May to start making those plans, making those moves, and just allow your intention to sit in a space of love, of support, and allow other people to hold space for you too during this time around what your wishes and your intentions are. And then just watch them slowly grow like seeds out of the soil. And when they're ready to harvest, they'll be ready to harvest. But it may not be just like that right after the new moon. So just bear all of that in mind. And I think the biggest thing to know is that as you begin to understand these energies that are happening around you, because it's all science, and tapping into that innate knowing, tapping into your spirituality, tapping into whatever it is that's driving you in this life, and just following your intuition. Because at the end of the day, you already know what you need to do. But it may just be that you need to delay what you need to do or what you want to do a little bit longer. So take a deep breath, sit in patience as much as you can with everything that's happening. Know that if there are any bumps in the road, it will eventually even itself out. And just try and be kind and considerate and compassionate to yourself, just like you would with anyone else. I think that's the most important thing, is a lot of people get stressed out and then they're not kind to themselves, they're not taking care of themselves, they're not prioritizing their self-care. And so I'm very happy to report that I am in Cuatro Ciénegas in Mexico, where there will be a total eclipse on April 8th. And I was divinely guided here. I had a meditation student that had started her own business doing health and wellness retreats. And she had kindly asked me to come to her retreat here in her hometown, and not just to experience the eclipse, but also to teach guided meditation and breath work to the participants of the retreat. So I signed up immediately. I said, where do I need to be? When do I need to be there? I'm there. And what was a lovely surprise for me is that phone call ended up coming on my birthday asking if I could make the trip. So I am very happy to say that as a birthday gift to myself, I gifted myself this trip, and we have a lot of really, really wonderful, amazing, beautiful souls here, not just as practitioners, but also as participants, and a lot of people seeking a lot of knowledge, a lot of healing, and a lot of release over this time. So you will probably see me posting a lot of videos and photos and things like that to the social media stories. So if you aren't already plugged into social media for the 5D Collective, please go ahead and follow us. I will be updating all of that information there. And so I thought, as we round out eclipse season and approach the solar eclipse, that I would pull a card from my spirit deck. This one is the Starseed Oracle. This happens to be the guidebook. And I chose a card, and you guys are gonna laugh because you're gonna think I made this up, but I swear I didn't. So this card is called Activated Earth, and it talks about power places, ley lines, and trusting where you're led. So I just wanted to read out of the guidebook how that can be interpreted. Ley lines are invisible pathways on the land along which energy travels. They can be sensed when we tune into them with our subtle senses. Also known as spirit paths, they've been compared to the meridian system of the body used in Chinese medicine, and they link sacred sites, stone circles, burial mounds, and places of worship worldwide. Many believe that as we visit such sacred sites and points on Earth, something is activated within us. Some also believe that by connecting with the land with devotion at these sacred places, that something is activated also within the planet. Are you being called to travel to a sacred place that your soul remembers, or to tend to the land that you live on, to honor and acknowledge the known and unknown keepers or nature spirits of that land? As you connect with the earth and honor its keepers, the land opens up more fully to hold you. The fruits provide more nourishment, and the guardians watch over you. So I wish you a happy, healthy, and safe eclipse season, and many blessings to you all. I will see you on the other side of this energy. I promise that everything's going to be okay. Again, take care of yourself, prioritize yourself. Make sure that you are doing a lot of self-care and nourishment during this time. If you need tips on how to do that as well, we've got plenty of self-care tips all over social media. So please tune in. Let us help you. If you have questions, please reach out. I'm here for you to try and help guide you through whatever the energies are and how they're affecting you. And I look forward to seeing you on the other side of the eclipse. Until then, thank you so much for joining me for 5DT with me, and I will see you next time.